What's up, everybody? If you want to join the greatest online Star Wars community, the Fandom Menace, make sure you hit that subscribe button before today's video starts, so you don't miss out on any updates and you're always the first to know when our newest videos go live.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
The Last of Us 2 is the highest-selling game on the PS4 of all time. I guess we should just close up shop, stop talking about it, and go home forever. We lost, folks. Common sense lost. Here's the story. The Last of Us Part 2 breaks Uncharted 4's sales record. The numbers are out, and not only is The Last of Us Part 2 one of the most significant video game releases of the past few years, but it's also the best-selling PS4 launch title of all time in the UK. Physical copies of the game have outsold every title for the PlayStation 4 console, and it broke the previous record for launch copies sold by another Naughty Dog game, Uncharted 4, which was released in 2016. According to the sales chart reported by GI Biz, The Last of Us 2 beat the previous record by 1%. The sales are indicative of the popularity of the franchise as a whole, and the first game series is widely considered a modern masterpiece. Its popularity doesn't just exist in the video game world either. There's a Last of Us broadcast and an HBO series in development from John Rennick, who directed Chernobyl. Alright, no more defeatist bullshit. The media is pulling the same crap they always do and spin something to be bigger than the success it truly is. It's nothing new to use the hype machine to exaggerate something. It's a tale as old as time. But these days, it's used to put a certain group of people in their place, and I find it fishy. There are 5 times the amount of PlayStations sold in America compared to the UK, yet the sales figures for The Last of Us 2 are suspiciously missing in the country with the most pushback from audiences. When we Google The Last of Us 2 sales, we're bombarded with article after article after article touting the success of the game. We have idiots over at Forbes proclaiming that the sales reveal a predictable truth, but the only truth is how full of shit these people are. If The Last of Us 2 was breaking records in the US, you know that people would be writing articles and throwing parades in The Last of Us 2's honor, just to spite the pushback. But as of this recording, nothing has been officially released. Convenient. It reminds me of all the Disney hype surrounding the last 2 Star Wars films, Solo and The Rise of Skywalker respectively. Last year, websites were running around proclaiming that The Rise of Skywalker was breaking all pre-sale records. There were articles celebrating the fact that The Rise of Skywalker was the fastest-selling pre-sale in cinematic history, outselling Avengers Endgame. Here's a list of films that outsold in pre-sale tickets. Stunning. Reality is often sobering, and it was for The Rise of Skywalker. At the end of the day, The Rise of Skywalker didn't even make half of what Avengers Endgame did. The only film it outgrossed on the list was Rogue One, and that was by only about $200,000. Solo: A Star Wars Story suffered an even worse fate. In 2018, we were told how the film was outpacing Black Panther to be a massive success. Again, reality hit. Solo: A Star Wars Story was the first box office bomb in the history of Star Wars, and Black Panther brought in more than $1 billion at the box office. So what happened? Well, the truth is funnier than any joke from the Disney trilogy. The fact of the matter is that all these reports about record-breaking sales came from the first hour of ticket sales. Yes, people were proclaiming that these 2 films were huge wins for Disney and a slap in the face for the Fandom Menace for all who oppose the Disney trilogy based on 1 hour of ticket sales. Talk about a premature joygasm. It's the same thing for The Last of Us 2. Record-breaking sales, Spider-Man has been vanquished, blah blah blah. It's all spin and garbage. Over the last 3 days, we've seen all the talk about the UK sales figures. 12 hours ago, they started applauding Japan's record-breaking sales. But again, Japan is the smallest region for the PlayStation 4, based on the 3 breakdowns from VG charts. My main question about all of this is, where are the US sales figures at? They keep talking about other parts of the world and worldwide sales that just came out today, but where are America's sales? If they're worth reporting on, they would have told us the sales figures, because it's the region with the most pushback to Naughty Dog's agenda. It would be the perfect opportunity to rub our noses in it and put us in our places. But they can't. Looking back at the UK and the sales figures talk of the best-selling PS4 launch title in regards to The Last of Us 2, we find that there's no way in hell that The Last of Us 2 is the best-selling PS4 game in that region. In Europe alone, FIFA 17 sold more than 8 million units, and each year's FIFA title crossed 6+ million units sold. If the worldwide sales for The Last of Us 2 are 4 million, and they're touting that it's the number 1 selling PS4 game, yet FIFA titles are selling more than that in Europe alone, something is off here. If there was a shred of integrity among these people, they'd be honest and call it the fastest selling PS4 exclusive, not the best selling PS4 game. That headline, even though it's false, is a lot sexier than the female characters in this game. These websites are either twisting the facts or outright lying. It's all spin, and it all stinks to high heaven. The first week worldwide sales are like the first hour ticket pre-sales for these Star Wars films. They look great in a vacuum, but it's not representative of the whole picture. Until we see the US sales figures, I'm not convinced that Naughty Dog won. Yes, right now they're acting like Haughty Dog, but the regions where they're giving specific sales numbers conveniently have the sex scenes removed. It's weird that Japan, of all places, considers what Naughty Dog put in their games objectionable. Think about that. Japan, the land of hentai and tentacle porn. If that doesn't put this all into perspective, nothing will. But we'll cover that next time. So what do you guys think about this situation? Is it convenient that the region with the most pushback to the Naughty Dog agenda isn't represented number by number? This is, again, the perfect opportunity to shut everyone up, all the haters, all the critics, all the trolls, all the review bombers. It's a time to shut them up. But they won't, they can't. Yes, the game made money. No one ever suggested that it was gonna be a failure. The Last of Us 2 is a brand that people like. But all of this stuff will have ramifications moving forward. I was thinking to myself, could this be the last hugely successful Naughty Dog game? Because from now on, when you think of Naughty Dog, you will remember what a douchebag Neil Druckmann is and all the crap they pulled. Yeah, you don't want to spoil the game for people, and we never did here on the channel, but what they got from the spoilers was a bunch of crap. And, well, can't help them. If people didn't like what they saw, well, you don't have the right to tell people they're not allowed to discuss that opinion. But I digress. Folks, thank you for watching. I know this is a little shorter than our average video, but hopefully you enjoyed it, and do me the one favor of sharing it everywhere all over social media, because it's important. I really want to know more about the United States sales figures. Again, over 36 million PlayStation 4 units have been sold here, but we don't have those numbers. Naughty Dog does, but they won't tell us. Sony does, again, they won't tell us. When it comes out, we'll cover it, we'll talk about it, and it'll put everything into perspective. We can compare it to the first game, we can compare it to other controversial games and other controversial things. But think of it like this, folks. The Last of Us 1 is The Force Awakens. The Last Jedi is The Last of Us 2. And we all know what happened to The Rise of Skywalker. The single biggest disappointment of the Disney Star Wars trilogy. The worst performing, the worst reviewed critically, and possibly just the worst film of the three. Now, I read online they're not intending to make another Last of Us game, which is just good because you pissed off a lot of people and probably ruined it, but if there was going to be a third Last of Us game, you would probably have the parallel to The Rise of Skywalker, which everyone loves to say, Jeff, the movie made $1 billion. Yeah, but it cost hundreds of millions to make. Joker made more money and cost $55 million in the budget. Again, if we double it to $110 million, you made 10 times your budget. Star Wars did not, and it's all about profitability. Now, I don't know what The Last of Us 2 cost. I assume that most AAA titles cost well into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Grand Theft Auto is one of the most expensive games of all time to produce, but Grand Theft Auto 5 is also the fastest selling game. And you know what? Rockstar doesn't hide from that fact. They don't stray away from those numbers. On the PS4 alone, Grand Theft Auto 5 has almost sold 20 million units. So again, that puts things into perspective. Yeah, 4 million units worldwide for The Last of Us 2 is great, impressive, especially in a single week. But until we get the US sales, I'm not convinced that their agenda didn't turn off this market, this demographic. So folks, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, thank you for joining World Class Bullshitters. I'll be back next time with more, where I'm going to discuss the fact that Japan thinks the sex scene in The Last of Us 2 is too controversial, and how that's kind of hypocritical of Naughty Dog to willingly pull that is not to offend that sensibility, but here in the West we can't have jiggling boobs and traditionally attractive women because it offends people on Twitter. So thank you for watching, folks. Hope you enjoy your weekend, but most importantly of all, always be excellent to each other.